There are wars over land, wars over love, and even wars over parking spots. But today you're about to hear a battle even more intense, the war over whether eggs count as dairy. Welcome to Reddit Echoes, where we retell stories that seem ordinary until they make you rage, laugh out loud, or nod in smug satisfaction. And if you've ever been food-splained by someone who was confidently yet hilariously wrong, then this story is for you. Story 1. I sued my biological father for stealing my inheritance, and I don't feel guilty. When my mom passed away, I was only 10 years old. She left me over $100,000 in a trust fund and clearly stated in her will that the money was solely for me to help me when I grew up. My dad, the only living parent, was appointed as the custodian of the fund until I turned 18. I thought at least I still had him. I was wrong. 3 years later, he remarried a woman I never liked. She came in wearing a white dress and a long list of dreams, without a single dime to fund them. And just like that, they, my dad and his new wife, decided to use the money my mom left me to open a bakery. They didn't ask me, didn't ask for permission. They just did it, for the good of the family. Family. You mean the new family you built after your wife died? When I confronted him, he called me selfish, said I didn't understand sacrifice, that the money would help everyone, including the new kids I met just yesterday who had zero relation to my mom. I was 15 at the time. I couldn't do anything but swallow the rage, but I remembered every word, every dollar, every pitying glance when I had to ask for money to buy school books while he flaunted the Organic Family Bakery grand opening photos with his new wife. I remember very clearly the day I asked if I could use some of the inheritance to take music lessons, something my mom had always encouraged, and he said, "There's no money left, honey." It was used for something better. That was my first lesson in what better meant better for others, not for me. When I turned 18, I packed my bags and walked out of his house. But I didn't forget. I went to a lawyer's office with a copy of my mother's will. I filed a lawsuit against my father for embezzling my inheritance. It wasn't just about the money, it was about justice, for the child who had been betrayed by the one person she had left after her mother died. And you know what pissed me off more than him, the extended family on his side. When word got out that I was suing my own father, some acted like I had committed murder. Honey, what about your half-siblings? If you do this, your father's new family will fall apart. I remember laughing and replying, "Oh, my family fell apart the day my dad took the money my mom left me." The legal battle dragged on. My father kept making excuses. There's no money. It was all invested. Times are hard. But the court still ruled in my favor. The bakery was sold. His wages were garnished monthly. His wife looked at me like I was some kind of monster, the one who destroyed their family happiness. And you know what I did destroy it. I destroyed the dream they built on a little girl's orphaned future. When I received the money, I didn't cry. I wasn't overjoyed. I just felt peace. Finally, my mom hadn't written her will in vain. And don't ask me if I feel guilty. No, not even a little. I don't owe anyone my silence. I don't owe those half-siblings a childhood filled with birthday cakes when mine was filled with tears and there's no money. I don't talk to most of my paternal family anymore, and I'm fine with that. I didn't sue out of hatred. I sued because my mother deserved respect, and so did I. Do you think I'm selfish? Or am I just the only one who stood up when everyone else chose silence? Story 2. I threw cold water on my husband after 20 years of getting ambushed at 6 a.m. I'm not the kind of person who explodes. I'm the quiet type, patient kind. Until you've made me endure 2 decades of getting blasted with freezing water before I've even opened my eyes. And I'm sorry, but that day, I snapped. My husband and I have been together since college. Back when love means sharing everything, including a hostile shower fixture. Here's the deal, our tub shower combo has one of those diverter knobs. If you want the water to come out of the lower faucet, you have to push the diverter down. Otherwise, it sprays straight down from the shower head right into your unsuspecting face. Sounds simple, right? Well, my husband never remembers to push it down. I've reminded him. I've left sticky notes. I even bought a bright red sticker that says, "Push this down or I push you out." And after 20 years, nothing has changed. Every morning I'd drag myself half asleep into the bathroom like a zombie, turn on the water gently, and bam, a blast of water cold as the devil's breath straight onto my neck, hair, and soul. I'd scream like I'd just been electrocuted, and from the other room my husband would casually call out, "Oh, sorry, I forgot again." Forgot 20 years. At least twice a month. That's nearly 500 freezing showers, and you still forgot. I used to think I was being too harsh, that it was just a small mistake. But then it hit me. This is a man who can remember every fantasy football stat, a 16-character Wi-Fi password from 2008, but somehow can't remember a button right next to his hand. Then came that morning. I stepped into the bathroom, turned the knob, and a wave of icy hellfire came crashing down on me like a slap from Poseidon himself. I was done. No screaming, no crying. I walked out of the bathroom soaked silent like a ghost. I grabbed a plastic cup, filled it about 1/3 with cold water, and walked back toward my husband, who was completely naked, about to step into the shower himself. No warning. I aimed directly at his chest and threw it. Perfect aim. Clean execution. Cold as my heart in that moment. He yelped like he'd been abducted by aliens. "What the hell, are you insane?" "No. I'm just returning the respect you failed to give me for the past 20 years. Then I unleashed it all. I didn't want any more apologies. I didn't want to hear I'm trying. I was sick of being the victim in my own damn bathroom. I made a declaration: from now on, every time I get hit with cold water, so do you. We're going to share this misery together. Thanks for the journey." He went dead silent. Partly from the shock, partly because he knew I wasn't joking. Now I know some of you might say, "Why didn't you just check the shower first?" Because I don't want to live in a constant state of paranoia every time I shower. I live with an adult, not a cat who breaks faucets for fun. And before you ask, why didn't you throw water at him in year 5 or year 10? Because I was patient to the point of stupidity. That day I went to work with a damp shirt and frizzy hair, but my soul was soaring. Because I didn't just throw water. I declared war. On carelessness. On sorry that means nothing. On a lifetime of just deal with it. He's your husband. My husband, 3 out of 5 buttholes, charming on the outside, cold water machine on the inside. Me, maybe 1 out of 5 butthole, but the justified kind. My reaction, extreme maybe. Satisfying. Absolutely. I don't condone violence in marriage, but if you've ever been hit with 500 icy surprise showers, you might understand why I needed to return the favor just once. Story 3. I kicked an autistic child out of my restaurant, and I don't feel guilty. My name is Gina. I'm 55 years old, living in New York, and my husband and I have been running a small family-style pizza restaurant for nearly 20 years. If you've ever worked in the service industry, you'll understand the customer isn't always right. Sometimes they're just a walking nightmare with a Bluetooth speaker on full blast. Before the pandemic, I considered myself an extremely patient person. But after it, I realized a lot of people are raising their kids like society owes them unconditional silence in every public space. Our restaurant has one simple rule: no loud music, no movies, no speakerphone calls inside the restaurant. We have a sign on the door, a sign on the menu, a cute little cartoon saying, "Let's keep it peaceful." Most people get it. Until one particular day, a mom walks in with her son, maybe around 9 years old. The kid has a tablet blaring cartoon sounds at full volume and a phone next to it playing TikTok videos simultaneously. I came out, smiled, and politely said, "Hi there, we don't allow audio devices on speaker here. Could you please turn it off or use headphones?" Her answer: "He's autistic and has ADHD. He needs this to stay calm." Ah, yes, the magic shield. From that moment on, any further request would instantly label you as discriminatory, heartless, or cruel. I still responded gently. I totally understand. Would it be possible for him to wear headphones, just so everyone else can also enjoy their meal? She flipped her hair and said mockingly, "He doesn't like headphones. Do you want him to have a meltdown?" I didn't say anything else, just went back to the kitchen and sighed. 10 minutes later, I heard pounding on a table like we were at a rock concert. I rushed out to see the boy slamming his fists on the table, staring at his mother like he was waiting for a green light. And the mom still scrolling through Facebook, completely unfazed. I said, "Ma'am, could you please step in? If the table gets damaged, we'll have to cover the cost." Her response, "That's just how he is. What do you want me to do? Tie him up." Before I could say anything, the boy jumped out of his seat, started running around the restaurant, kicking chairs and tables, nearly spilling a glass of wine on an elderly woman. One customer yelled, "Hey, control your kid or I will." The mom shot up like she was giving a TED talk and declared loudly, "Autistic children have the right to be in public spaces like anyone else," I replied, "and everyone else also has the right to eat without being kicked, screamed at, or having their table pounded on, don't they?" I was being as polite as I possibly could, internally screaming, but still holding it together. Then the kid threw a spoon at the table next to him. "That was my limit," I said firmly. "If you can't manage your child's behavior, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." She screamed, "I'm going to sue you for discrimination against autism. I'm recording this." Right then my husband, normally quiet but extremely firm when needed, walked out, boxed up their order into takeout containers, handed them to her, and said, "Out. Now. Immediately." She looked absolutely shocked, like we'd just smashed her kid's iPad. Kids aren't robots. Society needs to accept differences. I have 5 kids. One of them used to struggle with emotional regulation and needed special support. I understand difference. But I also understand responsibility. No one said your child can't be in a restaurant, but you are responsible for your child's behavior. If your kid can't sit through a meal without disrupting everyone, maybe a different setting or takeout is the better option. What I saw wasn't a difference that deserves compassion. What I saw was laziness and an expectation that everyone else clean up after it. Final score. Me, 0.5 buttholes. I held it in for as long as humanly possible. The mom, 3.55 buttholes, used her child as a societal shield. The other guests, 0.5 buttholes, they just wanted to eat pizza in peace. I love kids, but I love discipline and respect for shared spaces even more. You can't walk into a public place, unleash your kid, and hide behind autism as a shield for your own irresponsibility. Story 4. I bought a personal fridge because someone kept stealing my lunch and the thief had the nerve to complain. I'm a 34-year-old guy working in a small office with about 10 people. Shared workspace, shared kitchen, shared fridge. Sounds professional, but in reality, it's more like living in a dorm with 10 people who've never heard of personal property. This started about a month ago. I noticed my lunches were disappearing. And I'm not talking about someone accidentally grabbing my sandwich. I mean entire homemade meals, rice boxes, carefully tossed salads, specialty dressings vanishing like they never existed. At first I thought maybe I forgot them at home. But by the second, third, fifth time, I knew for sure someone was stealing my food. So I sent a polite message in the company group chat. "Hey everyone, just a heads up, my lunch has gone missing a few times from the fridge. If anyone grabbed it by mistake, please double-check next time. Thanks." The responses. "Oh no, that sucks. Maybe someone was just super hungry. Remember to label your stuff." I thanked them, though inside, I was ready to slap a wanted poster on the break room wall. But of course the thefts didn't stop, so I took action. I went to Best Buy, bought myself a compact mini fridge, slid it right under my desk, plugged it in, and locked it with a small latch. Clean, quiet, secure. And guess what? No more missing lunches. I ate my food on time every time. Life was smooth like a Yakult commercial. Until one day, Dana, 29 years old, queen of passive-aggressive concern, walked up to my desk and said, "This little fridge looks kinda out of place, doesn't it?" "Why'd you get it?" I shrugged and said plainly, "Because my lunch kept getting stolen. Now it doesn't." She gave me that fake understanding nod, then casually dropped, "Don't you think that's a little selfish? It kind of breaks the sense of unity, you know, unity. So I'm supposed to share my lunch with the thief to preserve workplace harmony. What next? Open a buffet under my desk? I figured that would be the end of it. But nope. I started hearing little sarcastic remarks tossed around like cheap candy. "Hey, don't leave your food out or Mr. Private Fridge will put a lock on it. Lunch anyone. Oh wait, we're not VIP enough." I was getting labeled as the weirdo who guards his lunch like it's a national treasure. But you want to know the funniest part? One day I overheard Dana complaining in the break room, "I'm starving. Someone switched up that chicken salad recipe yesterday. I had something just like it." Yeah. That was the day I intentionally left a decoy chicken salad in the shared fridge, except I spiced it with extra hot mustard and diced chili peppers. I'm not saying anything, but I do know she didn't eat lunch that day and spent the entire afternoon in the bathroom. I'm not someone who looks for fights. I don't want to turn the office into a war zone. But when all polite requests are ignored, action is the only language left. Final verdict. Me 05 buttholes. I protected my belongings in a quiet, respectful, and non-harmful way. Dana, 355 buttholes. The thief, the accuser and self-appointed moral compass, all rolled into one. The rest of the office, 1.5 buttholes, stayed silent when wrong was happening, then mocked the victim. Lesson. If you don't steal my food, I don't need to lock it. But if you do and then call me selfish for protecting it, well then, I'm happy to share. A lesson. Story 5. I made a dairy-free cake for dinner, but apparently eggs were the real crime. I never thought a cake could cause a cold war, but apparently it can, and it did. Last week I was invited to dinner at a close friend's house. One of those long-time friends, the kind you bonded with over Starbucks barista trauma and trash-talking your manager after every shift. We have this tradition when someone hosts, the guest brings dessert. So naturally I agreed. When I asked what I should bring, she said, "Anything's fine, just no dairy. My kid recently switched to a dairy-free diet." Sounded easy enough. I've got a killer dairy-free chocolate cake recipe, no milk, no butter, no cheese. I was so confident I even wrote dairy-free baby on the lid of the container. I felt like I was about to become the Mary Berry of allergy-friendly baking. Dinner was amazing. Roast chicken salad, lots of laughs. Then came dessert. I brought out the cake, sliced it up, served it to everyone. The compliments rolled in. My friend, the host, even said, "Oh my God, you have to give me this recipe. My daughter won't stop eating it." Proudly, I started listing the ingredients. 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of coconut oil, 1 TBSP cocoa powder, 2 eggs. And right at that moment, the daughter, probably 10 or 11, froze mid-bite, eyes wide, and slammed her spoon down like I'd just committed treason. Wait, there are eggs. The room went so silent I could hear my own soul drop to the floor. Eggs are dairy. I was confused but tried to keep it calm. Actually, no, they're not. Dairy refers to milk and milk-based products like butter, cheese, cream. My friend looked at me like I had just said kids should drink espresso by age 5. Eggs come from animals. That makes them dairy. Didn't you know that I almost let it go with a chuckle? But I couldn't. Because that smug, passive-aggressive, "I'm more enlightened than you" tone triggered my inner Google search bar. So I replied, polite but firm, "No, eggs are animal protein, not dairy. No one's ever milked a chicken." A man sitting nearby, probably her father-in-law, nearly choked on his drink. The daughter ran upstairs with a dramatic ugh, like Elsa discovering she'd been betrayed. After that, the vibe completely shifted. No one talked to me quite the same. My friend stayed civil, but with the emotional warmth of a freezer aisle. The next day, I got a text. Next time, if your dish has eggs, just let us know. Not everyone defines dairy the same way you do. Oh, okay. So now I'm misdefining spelling. I was pretty sure I was the one living by the dictionary while they were living by vibes. And just to be safe, I Googled it again after dinner. Result: dairy has products derived from the milk of mammals. Not a single word about eggs, milk. I even checked with another friend. She said, maybe people think eggs are dairy because they're near the milk in the fridge. I was speechless. I don't blame the kid. She's young, sensitive, and parroting what her mom believes. But I do blame people who invent their own internal food laws and then judge others for not following them. You're allowed to be vegan, dairy-free, sugar-free, or socially allergic. But you don't get to punish people for not obeying the household definition of dairy. Final verdict. Me 05 buttholes. I followed the rules, made it with care, and was honest the whole way through. My friend 55 buttholes. Instead of clarifying, she opted for silent judgment. Her family 15 doofus scale for believing eggs are chicken juice. The cake may be gone, but the drama lingers. And next time someone asks me to bring a dairy-free dessert, I'll be sure to ask, according to the dictionary, or your household headcanon. And that, my friends, was the story of 1 cake, 2 eggs, and 3 wildly different definitions of dairy. If you've ever been punished for something absurd like this, feel free to share your story in the comments below. Whose side are you on, OP, who was just trying to do the right thing? Or the eggs, dairy friend, who turned dinner into a bioscience seminar with 0 facts? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you think stories like this deserve to be shared, or if you've ever been penalized for being too correct. We'll see you in the next episode of Reddit Echoes, where we prove that the world isn't short on crazy stories, just people brave enough to tell them.